Am I the bad guy for not taking over custody for my brother's daughter? My brother, he is 28, and I, also 28, grew up in a foster care. I don't really want to get into detail, but the thing is was basically had only one another. From the time in the foster care, I have learned that I'm really not suited for kids, like at all. I know what I'll say might sound harsh, but I hate kids. Seeing kids remember of the time at the foster care, so I really can enjoy spending time with them and can't pretend I do. My brother had a baby with a girl after school. They weren't really together and she didn't wanted the baby, but brother did. So she kept it and gave me into my brother. Now his was very different to me. With kids in need, he loved to help and I know he was always a better person. We grow apart when we grow up because of how different we were. But we still contact through the text mostly. My brother and I were born with a congenital heart disease, Eisenmenger syndrome, which if you're not familiar with disease, it basically means that you without the right care, our hearts, lungs will just stop working. Like, to put in easy terms, my brother had a heart attack when he was just a few hours old. That's how we found out we were sick basically. Obviously, no one wanted to adopt us because we were like little bombs. We have known our whole life that we were probably gonna die young as well, and we couldn't get the surgeries we were meant to. So brother always took care of himself, but suddenly he died of the heart attack 15 days ago. His daughter is staying with a friend of my brother, but she had asked me to fill for custody of the child, and this is where I might be the bad guy. I told her I will not so that I can take care of her and I don't want to. She said that I'm the only family she has now and I can't let her alone. I think that she should contact her mother. She this child's family, not me. I don't deserve to put in this situation. It's best if she goes to her mother. This woman is insisting that I take her with me because it's what my brother wanted. How can I take care of her if I can't even look at her and pretend not to hate her? I despise children. There is nothing I can do and I feel like I'm being put in a situation where I either do what they expect from me or I'm the bad guy. This woman also told me that child's mother may not want to take her in, and she'll end up in foster care, which I know is horrible. I don't know what to do here. Necessary? It is necessary to know. We live in Romania. So, write in the comments below what you think. Am I the bad guy for hiding vegetables in my boyfriend's food? I have been with my boyfriend for a year and we moved in together about 4 months ago. One of the first things I noticed about my boyfriend was that he never really ate vegetables. He would sometimes eat them if we were out at the restaurant and they come as part of his meal, but he never ate them when I cooked for him. Originally, I thought that maybe my cooking was the problem, so I asked him if he enjoyed my food and he told me he loves my cooking. On nights, I don't cook for him. He ate exclusively frozen foods and never ate the vegetables in those either. Naturally, he has some health issues. Vitamin deficiencies and etc. He had phrased it to me as if he was somehow just genetically unlucky. I believed it for a while because I don't know how that stuff works, but eventually it became clear to me it's because he voluntarily eats a vegetable like once a month. 6 months ago, I started hiding vegetables in my cooking. If I was making pasta, I would put the vegetables in. I'd usually put it for myself, then take half out and blend it so he wouldn't notice the vegetable chunks, and then tell him to just scrape the wag out of his portion. This happens more often now. We live together because I do all of the cooking. He's been telling me a lot lately. He's been feeling a lot better the past few months and has even had his doctor reduce the dosage of some of his medications, and he hasn't had to take his multivitamin in weeks. I kept my mouth shut because I'm just glad he's feeling better. And it really does me no harm to hide the vegetables in his food. So yesterday, I was making out of our regular pasta meals. It's one that's very easy to hide at least 4 veggies in. And I was about to blend my boyfriend's portion when the blender died mid-blend, and I had to serve it in all its swag young glory. My boyfriend refused to eat the vegetables, but when he tasted the sauce, he said it's weird how it tastes the exact same even though this one has swag in it. So I confessed. He screamed at me, called me a controlling witch, and say that it's none of my business if he thinks vegetables don't do anything. I point out he said he felt better, and after all, he went out of our apartment to stay with his sister. His sister texted me, say he's fine, but she agrees with him. My friends agree it's ridiculous that he didn't eat vegetables, but agree I'm being a bad guy. So what do you think? I'm not the bad guy for making my roommate question his sanity for breaking my mug. Okay, let me explain. So, I'm a female, 19, have a mug that I love. It's the only one I'll drink non-hot drinks out of. My dad got it for me a few years ago and he lives in a different country, so I don't see him very often, and the time differences makes it hard to set up call times. I also have 2 roommates. D, he's 20, and J, 19. I get close with them these past years since we all have the same major and they were looking for a 3rd roommate, so I decided to move in. Moving on to the story, I found my mug in the trash about a week ago. It was broken. Not terribly, the handle was in 3 pieces and the mug itself had 1 large chunk out of it, but overall it was still in good condition. However, I wanted to know who broke it. So when we were all together, one day I asked, "Has anyone seen my mug?" And both of them say they didn't know where it was. I managed to fix it with some ceramic glue I had. I seal it, don't worry. And continued to use it on the regular because it looked good again. Don't leak and was still a good mug. Z started acting weird when he saw I had it again, so I told him, "Oh yeah, I found it on the containers this morning. G must have found it and cleaned it for me," which was, of course, a lie. Moving on today, I was drinking tea and he came into the room and finally said, "Hey, I need you to tell me where you got that because I could have sworn I knocked it off the counter a few days ago." I told him I fixed it after finding it in the trash, and now he's mad at me for not telling him I did and making him feel crazy. But I'm mad at him for breaking my mug and not telling me. Should I have told him I found it and fixed it? I'm not the bad guy for asking my brother to pay $30,000 for my engagement ring. I hosted a family dinner over the weekend. My brother brought my nephews 4 and 8 over as well. I used to wear my engagement ring all the time, but lately I kept in my walk-in closet and mainly wear it for special occasions. While I was cleaning up the dinner table, my nephew went to go to play while the adults were still in the outdoor patio outdoor kitchen area. My brother was not supervising his kids. During this time, my nephews went into the master bedroom without anyone knowing and started playing with everything, including my engagement ring. When we came to look for them, they panicked because they know they aren't supposed to be upstairs, ran into the master bedroom and flushed my ring. We called a plumber in case it was somehow in trap of the toilet and not actually gone. But no, unfortunately, it was gone for good. We still had the original receipt, so I called my brother. I mailed him a scanned copy as a proof of the cost and asked him to reimburse me for the ring my nephew flushed. Immediately, he started calling me a bad guy because we were family and he was just a child. He has refused to repay the cost of my ring. I told him I will be taking him to court for this, and now my entire family is blowing up my phone saying family shouldn't sue each other and just let it go. So no, the ring was not insured. I found out the day after my nephew flushed it. My husband says he forgot and they never actually insured it. Also, my brother says he does not have the money to repay even $100 for a month and has refused any kind of repayment plan. He said I live in a nice enough house and if I want a replacement, I shall just sell my car. My brother, to this day, has not truly apologized. It was like a Canadian sorry. Sorry, not sorry. He said kinda, we'll do what is normal for kids, as they shouldn't be held responsible for a ring. They were supposed to supervise their kids outdoors with the rest of the family while I was busy cleaning up. And also, I don't believe for a second my brother and his wife cannot pay for the cost of my engagement ring. They don't make anything near my husband, but they have a combined income of around, 205K. They don't pay rent or anything because my parents gifted them their old house, valued at 3 and 5 million in Toronto. There is no mortgage on the home my brother lives in. The only thing my brother and his wife will have to pay for is costs of raising their children, normal bills, and food. I feel so distraught because my ring holds great sentimental value. I've already been speaking with my husband's family lawyer, but at this point, I'm ready to hire a police to find out if they really don't have the money. So what do you think about it? Am I the bad guy for treating my colleague's nephew like everybody else? So hello, I'm female, 27. I'm currently a resident and we have med students coming and going to our ward every now and then. I understand it's not very practical for them to just stand and watch in the OR, general surgery, and it is hard, almost handled like the ranks of military. I was a med student too, so I know. But all things aside, there are rules that need to be followed. One of the students made a mistake. I won't go into details, but it was significant enough for me to notice. So I did what we do routinely for this kind of things out the wand. Ask him to do a bit of extra work to make sure he doesn't repeat this later. That night, I got a call from one of my friends. He said that student was his nephew and asked me to take it easy on him. I said it was taking it easy on him. All he had to do was pay attention. He told me to let go of his nephew's mistake and that his father was this important person. I told him I did what was required and that was the end of it, that he didn't deserve special treatment because of his family. And that friend called me a witch and I hanging up the phone on him. I'm pretty sure I didn't the right thing, but a few colleagues have told me I could have taken things a bit more easily and let it go. I personally only stayed out of trouble thoughts being responsible and paying attention. I honestly believe he should do the same. Am I the bad guy for cheating on my husband with my co-worker? So many people in my life had said I'm wrong for this, so I wanted other opinions. Hello, I'm a female, I'm 30. I have been married to my husband, let's call him Damien, for 7 years. Our marriage wasn't like most people I know. We only got married because he got me pregnant and needed to step up as the father. We met each other in a college and we started off as friends, but eventually I started developing feelings for him. He was dating a girl at that time, and they would argue a lot. Every time they will argue, Damien will come to me for comfort. I didn't mind because the person I liked relied to me. One night they broke up and he got me pregnant. Although it was pretty clear he didn't love me and didn't want to childbear me. So he stepped up and married me. My husband was getting his PhD and was working in the hospital, so money wasn't an issue. Because of the baby, I had to drop off the college, and once I was able to work, I decided to apply as a kindergarten teacher. But in fact, my husband didn't think it was necessary. Our marriage was unhappy. We never made love after I had my son, and it was constant arguing. He would belittle me and remind me how it was just to pick me up. I want to also add that I'm a vegan, and ever since I married him, I had to quit because he didn't want to eat a salad for dinner every day. While working at the elementary school, I met a friend. I will call him Brandon. Brandon was the kindest person I've ever met. He will check up on me to make sure I'm okay. We had gone on picnics together with our kids. He has one daughter. And since we were both vegan, he would give me some vegan recipes. Brandon made me feel true happiness unlike my husband, and I was starting to fall in love with him. One day, we were eating brunch and he admitted to having feelings for me. I told him I like him too, but admittedly, couldn't leave my husband considering he overpowers me financially. Brandon said that he didn't care and still loved me for that. One night, me and Damien did nasty for once, and I got pregnant. I wasn't happy, but he was overjoyed. I felt guilty because I realized how much of a bad partner he was and fell out of love with him. Out of guilty, I admit to him I cheated on him, out of guilt, and of course he wanted a divorce. He was angry even though he's never shown any love to me. He also didn't believe the baby was his and understandably asked for DNA tests once the baby was born. We had gotten a divorce and Brandon had let me move in with him and his daughter. Given Damien's wealth, the courts gave him full custody of our son and I had visitation. Once my daughter was born, we got the DNA test and Damien found out she was his. He also demanded custody of her, but I just gave him visitation. Now that my life has settled down, I decided to tell my friends and family about this, and they all called me the bad guy. So, am I the bad guy? Write in the comments below.